Hey guys, welcome back to another video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. My name is Miranda. I teach about everything related to operating a trucking business and how to navigate this crazy industry. If you're interested in this topic, feel free to subscribe and push that bell button down below. Anyway, yesterday I released a video about the difference between buying your equipment straight out, financing it, or leasing it. Now, understandably so, there was a ton of confusion regarding the leasing portion. So we will be talking about the difference between leasing or conventional leasing and a lease to purchase or lease to own program. Ready? Let's go! As I said in my yesterday's video, when you lease a truck or trailer, that monthly payment that you're making is considered an expense because at the end of the lease, you do not have a truck or trailer. I know I'm passionate here, but I have to explain everything since it was such a source of confusion. Okay, let's make this as clear as possible. There are two main types of leases out there. There is the operating lease, also known as the conventional lease, and then there is the capital lease, which is also known as a lease to purchase. Let's start with the operating lease, which is what I was talking about yesterday in my video. So an operating lease is something that is also sometimes called as a conventional lease. And the best way to think about this is as a long-term rental. So for example, you go into Ryder, you see an awesome sleeper truck, you decide you want that sleeper truck, and Ryder then offers you a conventional lease with a 7-year term, and you have to pay around $1,300 a month. In that $1,300, maintenance is included, and so are other things. For example, if your truck breaks down, Ryder will offer you another truck while you're waiting for the original one to get fixed so that you're not stuck losing money. Now, something else to notice is that most operating leases do not require any down payment. So there are no down payments on a lease most of the time. But there is a caveat to leases, and I'm talking about the operating lease here. Number one, there are mileage restrictions, which means that you have to be very careful about how many miles you accrue with your equipment. And number two, which is very important and why I don't like this operating lease, is that this is not your truck. Therefore, the monthly payments are expenses. This is not your truck. It does not belong to you. You are simply paying to be able to use it. But the truck actually belongs to the company that is leasing it to you. To make it really, really simple, basically this truck or trailer that you are leasing through an operating lease, it stays off your balance sheet. You cannot depreciate it. Now, as I already said yesterday, there are some positives to an operating lease. Number one, if you decide that this industry is not really for you, you can get out of that lease early by paying an early termination fee. And number two, something that I forgot to mention in yesterday's video, is that you can replace your equipment with newer equipment. So let's say you have a lease with Ryder for 7 years, and towards the end of those 7 years, your lease is almost up. You can ask for a newer truck and start that 7-year lease all over again. Finally, with an operating lease, you do not have to worry about getting rid of the truck in case you decide to get out of this industry. You just simply take the truck and bring it back to the dealership that gave it to you, the dealership that actually owns that truck. When you own a truck, you have to worry about things like finding a buyer in case you want to get out of this industry, making sure you're not losing too much money on the sale, and so on. Now, I know there will be someone who asks me to provide a name of a company that does traditional operating leases, and that would be Burgess. I don't know if I am saying their name correctly. Burgess, there's Ryder, and of course there's Penske. So these are companies that provide the traditional operating lease where you never own the truck. You're just paying monthly operating expenses to be able to use their truck. For trailers, there is a company called Extra Lease. I'm sorry, this is so messy, crazy. Extra Lease leases out trailers, all types of trailers. Now let's go ahead and go to the capital lease, also known as a lease to own. So a lease to own or a capital lease is more like a loan. And And at the end of the lease, there is a buyout option of that equipment. With a capital lease, often there is a down payment. And another thing is, because you are possibly buying out this equipment at the end, you assume a lot of the responsibility. You are in charge of maintenance. You are in charge of taking care of your truck, making sure all the taxes are paid, and basically all the costs related to that truck. You are the one responsible. The title will be with the dealership until you pay it off, but you are kind of taking partial ownership of that truck. So that means that the monthly payments are investments. They are not expenses. Those monthly payments, when you're planning to buy the truck out or the trailer out and you end up owning that equipment at the end of the day, the monthly payments are investments you are paying into that equipment. And of course, if this is your equipment, that means it can go on your balance sheet and you can depreciate it. Okay, now that we broke that part down, let's talk about the lease to purchase programs and why they have earned such a bad rep. In reality, capital leases are the single most popular way owner-operators obtain their equipment. But there is a big difference between being an owner-operator who's participating in a capital lease through a dealership such as Freightliner and being an owner-operator who is participating in a lease to purchase program through a carrier. When you have your own equipment as the owner-operator, you're leasing your business to the motor carrier and you're basically running under their MC number. With a lease to purchase program through a carrier,
you are selling your soul to the devil.
Well, it basically means that you're tied to that carrier for the lease term, at least if you want the truck, that is. Now, lease purchase programs with a carrier can be a big issue because a lot of the time an owner-operator will go broke with this kind of option. A carrier will pay the owner-operator either a percentage of the load or a flat rate per mile, but that settlement is after all expenses, including the truck payments, the trailer payments, whatnot. Now, because owner-operators are considered independent contractors, there are a bunch of other expenses they are now responsible for, such as tire fees, there is mileage fees, insurance, taxes, fuel. All of that is the owner-operator's responsibility. Because of these high expenses, many owner-operators, they are not able to make those equipment payments on time. And some shady carriers state in their contract that a lease will be in default even if only one payment is missed. Basically, these poor chaps are paying their monthly expenses and the truck payments, and after a while they realize that they can no longer afford it and they have to walk away without equipment. Let's go ahead and take a look at why lease purchase programs through carriers can be such crap. So let's look at this job post. This is actually a real job post from 2016. I changed a couple of numbers to be applicable to today, but no down payment on the truck. Awesome. No credit check. Awesome. If you have a bad credit score, you can still own a truck. How amazing is that? Truck payments from $700 per week for 4 years. No balloon payment at the end. Everything sounds amazing. You see what kind of equipment you're getting. You're going to be paid $1.80 per mile because you're an owner operator and you're going to own your own business. You're about to own your own truck. There's escrow deductions. Okay, there are some things here that you have to pay for, but they have fuel discounts. It sounds like an amazing opportunity, right?
Wrong.
You guys, I have to put up my hair up for this because this topic really pisses me off, how they use owner operators. Let's get into it. Let's say that, okay, you like this job and you're planning to drive around 3,000 miles per week, right? This is what you are basing your calculations from. So the rate here is $1.80 per mile, which means that $1.80 per mile times the 3,000 miles per week, your gross is going to be $5,400 per week. Everything sounds good so far. Now we have to start subtracting. Fuel, right? So here is our number, $5,400 a week, just about. Then there's fuel. Let's say you're using at 7 miles per gallon. So that means you'll need around 428 gallons per week. Now multiply those 428 gallons per week times the $4.80 per gallon that the fuel costs right now. So what does that come out to? $2,054.40. This is just your fuel expense that's coming out of this paycheck. But there are also other expenses. If you take a look right here, we have other expenses. We had truck payments. Now this is from $700 per week. Let's say you have a truck that is $806.47. I actually got this number from somewhere. We'll use that number. There are also escrow deductions. There are also highway use taxes. There's the trailer rental, tires, truck parts, all of that is still here. So let's take a look just for fun. $806.47 is the truck payment on a weekly basis. $185 is the trailer payment on a weekly basis. I am so sorry about my handwriting. No comment. Then there's escrow. What was the escrow? The escrow was 62.5. So all of this, it comes out to $1,053.97. Okay? This is these expenses. So let's look at it. We have $2,000 or $2,054.40 is fuel, right? Then this amount. So what are we left with after we remove just these expenses? Well, we're left with $2,291.63 net per week. Okay, well, I guess it's doable, right? Wrong. There are other things that the owner-operator has to pay for. It says so in the job posting. For example, all the tires, truck parts, the highway use taxes, all of that is the owner-operator's problem. Now, let me give you a real number from last month. How much did we spend on maintenance on one of our reefers last month? Well, we spent $2,740 or just about, and some cents. Okay, let's say some cents. So that already puts this owner-operator at a negative. And this is after maintenance, but there are other expenses. There's permits, there's taxes, there's the insurance. So what happens to this owner-operator who ends up basically going broke each week from this lease to purchase program? Well, what ends up happening is this poor owner-operator ends up walking away from this whole thing, this whole mess, having paid a bunch of money and nothing to show for it. So does it make sense why lease to purchase programs are such a scam sometimes? Does to me. Anyway, I think this video is long enough. I hope I clarified some things from yesterday's video. I hope you learned something new. And other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video.